let's start off this conversation on the telecast with us, Major Mohammed Ali Shah. I'm going to come to you and start off with this 3-day long visit of Home Minister Amit Shah and the step-by-step approach that he has taken right from 29th of May when he landed in Imphal to today is 31st of May. And he has systematically met every single group. He started off with the Chief Minister, then he's met all political parties, he has met the governor, he has met women leaders, he has met prominent leaders from the Meeti community, from the Kuki tribes, he has met eminent personalities. Now the message goes out very strongly to the people of Manipur that the state government and the central government are with them. They all want peace and they want negotiations and resolutions to ensure there is no more violence in the state of Manipur. How better should the government of India take the next steps to ensure that the government of India is with the people of Manipur?
Absolutely, Megha. It was indeed very, very distressing to me when I heard the demand of the Kuki community wanting a separate state for themselves because they felt that they were not protected because thousands of weapons went away from the Manipur police Thana, and just yesterday, police Thana at Kakchin in Thobal and near Sorabasti was raided over there. So the very fact is, when a Home Minister goes there personally on ground and meets every single delegate, he met the Kuki leaders, he met the Chief Minister, of course, that he had to. All the important people he meets and they all are convinced and they all have to convince themselves that yes, the government is of the day is with them. I spoke to a whole lot of people, Megha. My friends over there in the Kukis, I spoke to the Maites, I spoke to people who are neutral as well, I spoke to Nagas over there as well. And so they could connect with me very, very honestly. And they told me that they told me the crux of the problem. And I understand the very fact it isn't that simple for it to be resolved. I'll be very, very honest. It was extremely complex and I was quite alarmed because I have an attachment to Northeast, having done ADC to 2 generals, to 2 lieutenant generals, to 2 corps commanders, having served with the Assam Rifles over there. I have a very deep bonding. I started my schooling from the Northeast, in fact, being a Fauji brat, being a Fauji, and thereafter, even after, they say once you cross the Brahmaputra, you go there more than 7 times, and that's the case with me as well.
In some form or the other in Manipur, number one. Number two, when we talk about the tribes, the Meitei and the Kukis, there are Kuki tribes also as of now in Myanmar. There are Kuki tribes who are traveling across the border to Manipur. Third point, there is a problem of the land that we need to take stock of and understand it comprehensively. What is this land problem? The 30 minutes program won't allow us to actually complete the brass tacks. The next point I wish to highlight is there is a problem of unemployment. There is a problem of lack of development to the hill sector.
Yeah,
there is
and if you mention about lack of development, therefore there has been a steady announcements and execution of a number of these developmental projects in 2022 when the Prime Minister visited. Prime Minister has visited recently as well. Home Minister, when he visited earlier in the year, January 2023, there are roads, there are canals, there are educational organizations, educational institutes, they are all being set up. There's a multi-crore rupee funding that is going into Manipur. More is required. Infrastructure that needs to be built to bring about prosperity and development in the state is of primary importance. Employment then needs to be created, which will be created when these projects are completed. They are in their execution state right now. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, you want to make a point. I'm quickly going to also tell you that right now Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh has appealed to the people of the state not to cause roadblocks and hindrances on the free movement of security personnel and relief material. Relief material particularly going out to those who are stranded, who are right now in relief from the Kuki community, particularly from the tribal areas where there has been arson and violence that has been witnessed, and these people, the innocents, have been shifted to these relief camps, and therefore an appeal going out to the people so as to ensure there's harmony and people are given the food, the other relief materials for them to be able to, I won't say position to be able to further survive this, hopefully not an onslaught that we will witness in the coming days and weeks. Yeah, you want to make a point, Major Mohammed Ali Shah?
Mega, it is an internal issue. I perceive it, and my study, but I have interacted with a whole lot of people over there. They got nothing to do with what's happening in Burma at all. Burma, the Tamu is there. Tamu is there towards Burma side, and then there's More, where our chief minister today he had gone, and there's a red and white bridge at Tamu and Burma, at Tamu and More. From More, then there is Technopal, Palel, Thoubal, Kakshin, Sorabasti, and then Imphal, Mantri, Pokri, Senapati, Chorajanpur. That's a different area altogether. It comes from that belt. Now, it has got nothing to do with unemployment as well, because unemployment, yes, there is but that was related to the insurgency. When the insurgency was there, when groups were operating like ULF, United Nations Liberation Front, PLA, People Liberation Army, not the PLA of China, but the PLA of Manipur, which was very, very deadly, very, very powerful. There was KYKL, Kangla Yevon Kanal Loop, there was NSCN. I am from Nagaland. They would come there and operate. The NSCN Isaac Moivan, NSCN Khaplang, NSCN K. There was PULS, People United Liberation Front. There were different underground factions. Now the very fact is, 54% of Maites and there were 40% of Cookies, and then Nagas, and then they were Pomai, and there were different tribes over there. There were Pangals, they're different, like Tangkuls are in Ukhrul, the Changchang district. So now Nagas and Cookies, they used to be bitter enemies. The very fact it is an ethnic problem, as our CDS, General Anil Chauhan rightly brought out. Now the very fact, I feel, as I said earlier, only the politicians can sit together by means of dialogue and it can be resolved. It will take time to heal. The wounds are too deep. There are women who have run away from their people's ghar destroy ho gaye, rato raat, beghar ho gaye. It is something very, very complex. And let me tell you, only when the politicians decide, or the leaders of both the communities decide, okay, we are going to sit together amicably, only then things can happen. They were the most peaceful towns in Mega, the most peaceful villages, the most peaceful hamlets in Manipur, where action had not taken place, no communal violence had taken place. Those were affected yesterday.
Yeah.
Those were affected, and it is extremely sad. Over 75 people have lost their lives since 3rd of May, since the violence began. So it has been that serious. It's something extremely grave, and a lot of people would say, okay, there's a Chinese hand. There's no Chinese hand. There's no Burma hand. It is actually the clash between the two ethnicities, and one has to understand, one has to have a lot of in-depth knowledge of the ethnicities of the Northeast tribe Mega.
Absolutely right. Now, Major General Shashi Asthana, now the outreach that has been made by Home Minister Amit Shah, especially to the eminent personalities, the famous people from Manipur. How important does it become for these personalities, for these local leaders to then reach out to the communities, reach out to the tribes, reach out to the Métis, to ensure, to tell them to maintain peace and harmony, to tell them to not cause law and order problem in the region, and to tell them the message of the Home Minister, the message of the Government of India. Because once this transmission of message happens, the environment then can be created to allow for two communities to come together and negotiate.
Certainly this outreach as well as inclusiveness initiatives which the Home Minister has initiated and announced, they are important for the reason because as of now, two things are important. One is people who are displaced and people who are who need to be evacuated in some manner or who are stranded at awkward places. They have to be put at the right places, and the logistics of that as well as the operations for that and relief material for that is important. Number one. Number two, any new violence if erupts, then right kind of messaging and information flow must be there to be able to prevent it. So this is the immediate requirement. Now, the second set of requirement, which you also rightly mentioned, is now reaching out to the leaders of both the communities, because both the communities finally have to sit down and they have to live together. There is no doubt about it. I tend to agree with what Major Shah was mentioning, because earlier, yes, there was a history of insurgency. There was a history of counter-insurgencies, Nagas, the insurgency problem between two Nagas, then Métis problem, then Indian government getting into an agreement with ceasefire agreement with Nagas and not with Métis. So Métis were also disturbed. These were happening and some of these problems do persist. But this particular issue was because of the reasons which I mentioned in my last spell. So I won't elaborate and waste time more on that. So this, as of now, I think the only way out is that firstly, the violence has been brought under control, number one. Number two, yes, it's a law and order situation which needs to be tackled with the CAPF, by the state government. Three is now the social activities must start of both the community leaders, both the tribal leaders, both the politicians of both the tribes should get hold of their people and start and accept this reality that they have to live together and they better live peacefully. Because things were looking quite bright in Manipur in recent past after a long time. But now all of a sudden this has put us slightly behind the gear as far as the normalcy as well as peaceful development and inclusive growth of the state of Manipur is concerned. Manipur is a very, very important state. No doubt that border state is as it is becomes important, and obviously there are certain impacts of the other state and the governance which is on the other side of the border. But what is important here is that this particular state, Manipur, the human resource of Manipur is gem. They are the best of the athletes. They are the best of the talent which the country has produced. Today in the Olympic team, you will find maximum of Manipuris.
Correct.
So they are and they are very good fighters. I have been the whole life I have spent in Assam regiment. And our troops most of the troops are from this area. In fact, 100% troops are from this area. So we have lived with these troops for these communities for entire our life, and we understand all the problems and compulsions which are there. Yes, there are linkages with the tribes on the other side, and those are 600 to 700 years linkage. So for them to be linked to within themselves and to be linked to India, we are just about we are yet to be 100 years old. So I think it will take a little more time, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
Growth,
Quickly.
The efforts are on.
Okay. Yes. Major Sudhakar ji, now, how important does it become to have these eminent personalities? The number of boxers, wrestlers from Manipur who have made India proud, who are Olympians, who have won in various world championships. Could a message also be sent from the Home Ministry to be at the forefront when it comes to sending the message of Government of India and telling the people, because they have the clout in the local community, in the local people, they follow them, they are loyal to them, they look up to them. So when their own leader, when their own member of the community speaks to them, that has a greater impact.
Mega, excellent point made by you. I fully endorse and also reinforce what we are saying with pride and conviction that it's a noble step and it is going to act as a force multiplier to blend the people of this beautiful state called Manipur. But allow me, if you give me a minute or so, any matter which takes place anywhere in the world, if you study it in isolation, will give you a different interpretation, different understanding. If you join the dots, let's say, not hypothetically, but pragmatically, few months back at Itanagar, the G20 meeting was not attended by China. Few months back, the G20 meeting was also skipped by China in Srinagar. Something happened towards the Indian Ocean region, down south, about 2,000 kilometers away. The nomenclatures, new nomenclatures based on a musical instrument happened for the first time in the Indian Ocean region. Some activity also is taking place towards Myanmar. Some activity is also taking place towards Pakistan. So all I'm saying is, when you join the dots of a larger canvas, then perhaps study of Manipur in the present context and the events which have unfolded would give us a larger picture. Hence, the intricacies or the issues which are missing the eyes of the person who's carrying out an analysis would come to light, and therefore they would be factored in. So all that I am trying to bring out is, I did not say that the present event which has unfolded or happening for past 25 days or more than 25 days, by any means is it an insurgency. No, I didn't say that. All I am saying is that something beyond. Allow me one more point, please. There is a narco-terrorism which is very, very vivid and having taking place in a distinct manner, not only in Manipur. The UN headquarters has taken out a paper. It is said that the Golden Triangle has produced a bumper crop of narcotics this year. It is very much managed to penetrate into not only Manipur but Mizoram. Colonel Tripaঠি's killing was attributed to this particular. He had taken bold initiative to
Fair
curb
enough.
this.
Yes,
practice.
and
There
if-
are illegal arms. There are counterfeit
yeah, there
currency.
is, and there is mafia. There is drug mafia that is operating out of there. There is insurgency that we witnessed. And are they then taking advantage of this civil unrest that is taking place in Manipur? Yes, of course, they will. Therefore, there needs to be at this point of time a cohesive Manipur, the people of Manipur that needs to work with the central government, with the government of their state to ensure there is peace, and their own people, whether from the Meitei community or from the Kuki tribes, are at this point of time, many of them have been displaced, their homes have been burned, their shops have been destroyed. Where do they go? So that's the eternal question that people need to ask. And if they are able to look into themselves and empathize with these people, there will be no violence, there will be end to arson. And that's the appeal we at NewsX are also making. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast.